How's it going, everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac and I'm here with a long overdue video on Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So as some of you may know, I was originally meant to do this video back like in January, February, but even then that was already postponed because I was supposed to do that when the series came out back in November. So this is another installment to the Scott Pilgrim series, as in like Scott Pilgrim the comics, Scott Pilgrim the game, Scott Pilgrim the movie, and now Scott Pilgrim the show, which honestly, like, it's crazy how much Scott Pilgrim content you can really get right now. Because this is a series that came out back in like 2004, and then I got a movie in 2010. The game, I think, came out around the same time, around that time period, and then this show came out in 2023. So Scott Pilgrim fans are still alive and well. So when this show got announced, I think earlier that year in 2023 or like the year before, people were hyped. For me, I was hyped because Netflix was just on a burner. They released that, they released Castlevania Nocturne, which I was super excited for. I made a video on that. If you want to see that, go check that out. So when this came out, I actually didn't watch it immediately because I couldn't. This was back around the time when I was still in college, so I had to do a lot of stuff, prioritize different things and stuff like that. And so when I finally got around to it, I didn't make a video on it because by then I was back in college. My new semester started. So now that I'm done with college, my semester's done, I can actually make a video on it like I promised I would. So for the people that have been waiting, it's finally time for me to review and talk about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I'm not going to go into spoilers in this video, so if you still want to watch this video and watch the show, don't worry, there will be no spoilers in this video. So to start off, this show has 8 episodes, around like 25 minutes long, and going into it, my thought process was, how does this show compare to the original movie? I haven't read the comics, so I can't compare it to that yet. I do plan on it though, and I will make a video on it once that happens, but I was just using the movie as comparison since that mostly follows the comics. And since the movie and the show are not the same, they have different premises. How in a visual novel where you have one path and you have another path, this is basically what Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is. It's another path from the beginning of the Scott Pilgrim world, right? So where the movie takes one, let's say the left path, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off takes the right path. And with that in mind, I wanted to see how does this route compare to the other one. And after having watched it and having some time, a lot of time, mind you, to sit with it, I really enjoyed Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. For what it is, it's a really fun, faithful, but also not afraid to diverge itself from the source material adaptation. That's all in one sentence, by the way. Like, this route in the Scott Pilgrim world is so fun because it's so different from what the movie was, where while the movie was fighting, this show still has its fighting, but it's more about the characters. There's a lot more character-centered episodes and moments in this show than there are in the movie. And I don't want to say like that isn't true for the comics. Again, I haven't read them, so I'm not going to talk about them. But this show just focuses so much on the characters that we didn't get to see much in the movie. Like, all of the 7 boyfriends get their screen time and get development, and then Ramona as well also gets development. Everybody in the show gets important development that I felt was needed that couldn't be translated in like an hour and 45-minute movie. And they really took that liberty. Like, they expanded so much on them, and I really enjoyed that. The story itself is pretty enjoyable. It's not just like, this is going to be more of a slice of life type of thing. It does have its important plot beats, and it still is Scott Pilgrim at the end of the day. And it's evident with the final episode. I didn't like the final episode as much as like the others because of the main bad guy. I didn't like him. I thought he was kind of whack, to be honest, compared to like the movie's bad guy. But that's just more preference for me. I'm not going to hold that against the show. But besides that, I loved almost every single episode of the show. It was so much fun to watch. The show itself, like I said, it sticks true to Scott Pilgrim. So what made the comics and the movie special are still here. If anything, they're expounded upon because Scott Pilgrim came out almost 20 years ago. This show came out in 2023. So there's gonna be differences, but the fact that it was still topical and still enjoyable, whether you read the comics in 2004 or whether you just picked up the show, this is your first piece of Scott Pilgrim media ever, it's still enjoyable for all audiences. The fact that the cast from the original movie as well, they're all here, is so fire as well. I think like that just adds even more charm because you can tell that there's so much love that goes into this show and into the movie. So the fact that it's replicated, it's amazing, and it just adds more character. Because that's what Scott Pilgrim is. It just has so much charm. And so now that it's not dated to the 2010s, it feels pretty good. Like, genuinely, I enjoyed it. The music, the animation, the jokes, all that type of stuff. It's just fun. Like, genuinely, I really enjoyed this show. And if I had to give some critiques, honestly, it really was just the final episode for me. That was just the one that I didn't enjoy much because of the bad guy. But even then, the episode itself was pretty fire because a lot of the plot threads were coming together. So overall, for me, I can definitely say I preferred this show over the movie. And I can also say that I would give it an 8 out of 10. With no spoilers, no nothing. I enjoyed this show. And I would recommend it to anybody who has or even hasn't watched Scott Pilgrim, because you don't need to. This show is friendly for anybody who has or hasn't watched it. I say just go for it if you have interest in it. But regardless, that's gonna be it for me for now. This has been Infamous Isaac talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Hope y'all enjoy. Let me know what y'all think about this show. Spoiler free in the comments, please. Unless if you put a spoiler tag just to warn people, because I don't want people to be spoiled. What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? Stuff like that. And above all, thank y'all for watching as always. I generally want to convey that, like, I'm so appreciative of all the new people that are here in the channel, from like the Kendrick and Drake video, all the people that watched that video. I'm really appreciative from the bottom of my heart. Like, we're gonna make it soon. We're gonna make it soon. And above that, I guess, I'll see you all in the next video.